Om Sri Maha Periyava Saranam. A devotee of Maha Periyava stayed for a few weeks in a hill station. On the request of some residents, he held a satsang every Thursday to convey the greatness of Maha Periyava. In spite of the cold weather and rain, many devotees attended the satsang regularly. He was moved by their devotion to Periyava. One Thursday, as usual, the devotee conducted the satsang and he sang a song. The crowd also sang along with him. A person from the crowd, who was around 55 to 60 years of age, stood up and requested the devotee to repeat the song. The person became very emotional. The song described an incident in his life. He wanted to know how the devotee had known about the incident. The devotee said that Periyava had expressed the incident through him. The person narrated the miracles performed by Maha Periyava which had saved his life. He asked permission to share his experience with the crowd and started his narration. Nearly 20 years ago, this incident happened in my life. My father and grandfather were great devotees of Maha Periyava. My father regarded only Periyava as God. I visited the mutt very often with my father for Periyava's darshan, but I didn't feel the connect with Periyava. I visited the mutt just as I would visit other temples. My visits to Kanchipuram stopped after my father attained Sadgati. I got married and was busy with my worldly duties. At the age of 37, I had financial problems and I had to borrow a loan. But I couldn't pay the interest. Thus I had to borrow another loan to pay the interest. The interest and the loan amounts piled up heavily. I could not even pay for milk, rent, and groceries. My friends left me in my difficult times. I couldn't find a solution. I was stressed by all the insults and my problems. I forgot to sleep. My family had lived prosperously and I had ruined everything. When my wife went outside, she would return home insulted and she would silently weep in the kitchen. I broke down. I realized that I had been the cause of all the problems. That night, I decided to give up my life and started walking towards the seashore. No one was present at that time. I could see the waters and nothing else. As I walked towards the water, I heard footsteps behind me. Without paying attention to them, I started walking faster. Again I heard footsteps and felt someone was following me. When I turned, I saw Maha Periyava standing behind me. I became thoughtless and speechless. I fell at Periyava's feet and heard him saying, "You are not helping your family by committing this act. You are increasing their burden. You never thought about me in your difficult times. But I thought of you and didn't leave you alone. Go home." Hearing these sweet words, slowly I lost consciousness. When I regained consciousness, it was broad daylight. I recollected the happenings of the previous night and realized where I was. I had seen Maha Periyava. Was it real or was it a dream? At that moment, Periyava's footsteps and compassionate words started echoing in my mind. It echoed throughout my body and I don't have words to express that feeling. Whenever I stand in front of Maha Periyava, these sounds start echoing within me. I was moved by Periyava's blessings. After realizing Periyava's grace, I ran home. My wife was waiting anxiously at the entrance. I held her hand and begged for forgiveness. She shouted, "How could you think of committing such an act?" I pacified her and narrated the incidents of the previous night. She went to the puja room and thanked Periyava for saving her husband and her mangalyam. I felt very energetic that day. Nearly 1,000 questions arose in my mind. How could I hear the footsteps while walking towards the sea? I understood that it was Periyava who helped me hear the footsteps. My financial difficulties were not solved, but I stopped worrying. I realized that a new Shakti or energy was flowing within me, and Guru's words were continuously echoing within me. There may be 7 crore mantras, but Guru's words are the greatest mantra. It is Shakti, and when it is within us, we will be freed from worries and negativities. I understood that we should be like the water droplet on the lotus leaf. Why should Periyava save me when I had not worshipped him? I heard my wife muttering, "You had visited the mutt till your father was alive." I received the answer, "My father was a very great devotee of Maha Periyava, and he performed all his duties only after obtaining permission from Maha Periyava. He visited Periyava whenever he wished to have his darshan. My father's sincere devotion had saved my life. I realized that I wouldn't have faced these problems if I had worshipped Periyava. I thanked my father. I slept well after many months, thinking about Maha Periyava. I had clarity of thought and was very excited. Seeing my excitement, my wife became very happy. My fears had vanished, and I was confident that Periyava would solve my problems. On the third day, our relative who stayed far away came home. He had very good relations with our family. After my father's demise, he visited us very rarely. He had learnt about our problems from a friend. He felt I would not tell the truth if he had enquired in a letter. He had felt very restless and had thus arranged for money. He wanted to meet me in person. He lent me a huge amount and asked me to return the amount only after 10 years or 20 years. I thanked him. After he left, I thanked Periyava for his grace and compassion. I repaid some of my debts from the amount received. We decided to prepare sweets and savories for sale. In a week's time, I started selling sweets and savories, roaming in the streets. Everything would be sold out by evening. It continued for 10 days. On the 11th day, they were sold very quickly. It was Periyava's blessing. I bought a small second-hand cart and covered it with glass to sell our sweets and savories. All our items would be sold out by evening. Again I would start my business in the evening. Our business flourished and I managed to rent a small shop in 1.5 years. I started selling sweets, savories and bakery items. In 3.5 years, I repaid all my debts. I returned the amount lent by my relative. I can't believe even today that I have branches in many places. I am very happy and prosperous. He saved me, solved my difficulties and blessed me with prosperity. He is Maha Periyava. I had come to meet my friend, and when I heard about the satsang, I couldn't proceed further in my journey. I have never seen a satsang which has meditation, prayer and bhajans. Today I am in bliss. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share my life experiences and Periyava's miracles. I am not interested in saving property for my children. My father's faith and devotion in Maha Periyava had saved my life, and I wish that my sincere faith and devotion would protect my children. My koti pranams to Maha Periyava. Everyone sang the song and dispersed, the song which described the incident. I had forgotten you in my difficult times. When I decided to end my life and walk towards the seashore, the sound of footsteps made me turn behind. You blessed me with a complete darshan and saved your devotee. Those who are depressed can find solace in you repeatedly. We surrender at your feet, O great saint. Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara.